Welcome to the Stoa. The Stoa is a digital campfire where we cohere and dialogue about what matters most at the knife's edge of what's happening now.
Hi, everybody. My name is Raven. I'm based in Portland, Oregon, where I'm involved in a philosophy community called the People's Colloquium. And today I'm super excited to join with Peter and the Stoa to bring this event. The spirit of this event, and I don't know if other people have been feeling this while attending Zoom calls, where I'm seeing these faces over and over again, and I'm super curious about the other people who are attending like the Stoa events with me. And so this is an opportunity for us to come together one-on-one and have an opportunity to meet and connect individually with people. Some people that maybe you've seen in other things. At other events, and maybe some people who you've never seen before. I know that I have some friendly faces in the audience here, and I'm excited for everybody to meet one another. So that the way this is going to go is Peter and I are going to do a demonstration of how the Socratic speed dating is going to be. There's some things that we ask of you that you have your video on when you're meeting up with somebody so that they can see your beautiful faces. And also that, you make sure that your audio is all set up as well. So we're going to start by demonstrating a question and how we're going to move through that as well. Who goes first, and all of that kind of etiquette.
So Raven, might be a good time to kind of provide the heuristics for the kind of question that we're looking for. And if you're okay, I can walk them through it right now.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. So we created 5 heuristics for questions to keep in mind about the questions to ask today. So the question that I think would be good for this event is to speak to the mind and to the heart. And I'm including this in the chat box. The other thing to keep in mind is ask interested questions rather than interesting questions. And what I mean by that, there's a term called conversational narcissism. And so an interesting question is when you ask a question that's genuinely about wanting to understand something about the other person's reality, where an interesting question kind of shines the light back on you to show you how smart you are, how clever you are. So as a heuristic, focus on asking interested questions. Ask open-ended questions instead of yes, no questions, or questions that lead to yes, no answers. Keep your language simple and concise. It's about the person. Don't go rambling on with a question. Just kind of have it nice and crisp. And then the last thing, ask a question in the spirit of belonging and connection. And this might be a tall order to get all of these, so don't worry about it, but just kind of feel into those heuristics and then try to ask a question in that spirit. So shall we do a demo, Raven?
Yeah, let's do a demo. So the way that we're going to have this go is, so for the person who's going to act as Socrates, the first question asker, that person will be chosen based on their name being earlier in the alphabet. So that's just a really easy way of figuring out who's going to go first or second. So Peter is P, and so he comes in the alphabet before me, so he's going to ask the question to me.
And then we have 4 minutes per person. So the inquirer gets to ask the person for questions for 4 minutes. So that's then we switch to the other 4 minutes. So first 4 minutes is and the ball's in my court right now. And the question I'm going to ask Raven is, it's gonna be juicy. It's gonna be juicy. Buckle up. When was the last time you really felt someone?
Okay. So this is a really sweet moment that I had recently, and it was a really sweet Zoom moment, which this whole situation is kind of bringing up all of these interesting social interactions. The other night, I was getting into bed, and had a book, Anti-Oedipus by Deleuze and Guattari, that I'm reading, and I Zoomed one of my good friends, and we read together in bed, right before bed. And it was this like really beautiful, sweet moment. I haven't like read like that with somebody in a while, and it was this blend of like this kind of like strangeness of our contemporary situation, and also this like sweet connection, like even just back into childhood of like being in bed with a book and being tucked in and creating that kind of connection with somebody. So I felt very held and like very much in a sense of belonging in that situation with my good friend.
Hmm. And like you said held, like
Yeah.
what exact moment, what was about it that felt that had that holding quality to it?
Yeah, I think for me, reading aloud is a really beautiful experience of like bringing abstraction, like letters, into sound and into my like voice and into my throat, and
Mm,
to share that experience with somebody that I like have a strong friendship with was really like sweet and endearing. And it also just reminded me of past experiences, like being with my mom in bed and her reading books to me and reading books to my younger brother, and having that alongside this kind of strange situation of using Zoom for every social interaction
right.
blended both like the kind of scenario of social distancing and coronavirus with this long-standing, I think, practice that we engage in as people, where we share our voices with one another and share
Mm,
works of literature and stories that are powerful together. So I just think it was just really sweet bonding moment.
nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So you see what I did there? I asked the first question, and then I did a follow-up question. And if there was still time within the 4 minutes, I would ask another question.
Yeah, and so now I'm going to reflect the question back to Peter. So what
Uh-oh.
was
Yeah.
and I maybe can't remember exactly the wording.
When was the
But
last time you felt someone or something? Yeah.
yeah, when was the last time you felt someone or connected to somebody?
Mhm. Yeah, and what's coming to mind is the last intellectual dance party we had here at the Stoa, and I think you came to the first one, and the second one was even better. I thought I just let it go on the dance floor, And for people who are not familiar, it's like all these different Zoom people. You see people dancing on the Zoom thing, and then Colin, the facilitator, is just playing a playlist and telling us to like fuck the coronavirus and stuff like that. So it was really a nice experience. And then the calm down at the end, he played this kind of like really soft, sweet music, and he asked us to put our hands on our heart and one hand on our gut, and then just stare into the Zoom channel and just watch everyone. And I just felt like so like incredibly tender in that moment, and just kind of like, and everyone, I think some people like Sarah's and was in that call, and it was like these people were like my Twitter friends, like just abstract tweets at one point, but now we're like feeling together, while we're like dancing during a pandemic. So I thought that was quite beautiful.
Amazing. What do you think about like having that come alongside this embodied experience? Do you think that like brought something to the fore that maybe other situations haven't?
Yeah, because you're moving your body, and then you got kind of like you're worked up, and you just kind of feel yourself more. And then I like the thing that everyone was kind of feeling something similar that I was feeling, because the music, they're listening to the same music, so they're invoking the same emotions. They're just dancing, doing their own thing. So just kind of like feeling embodied with other people who are feeling embodied just felt really special.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. Great. So that's our demonstration. Um, Hopefully, I think that probably made good sense to people. If there is any questions, you can go ahead and throw them into the chat and we can address them. But unless something, so does the second person always ask the same question back? Yes. So for this first round, that's what we're going to do. But things are going to change up as we move through different rounds, and we'll describe how the form is going to change
Yeah.
after this first round.
So like, yeah, just there's going to be 3 different rounds, and every round is going to have a different question, and we're going to explain kind of how we're going to source that question before the round begins. And for the first round, we're going to give you a question.
Yes. The second question in the chat is, will you be alerting us of time? Yes, so in the breakout rooms, there'll be a little alert that will come that will tell you when you're a minute into your section, and then to switch over to the second person. So that will pop up. And then also the specific phrasing of the question will be in the chat. Yes. So Peter spontaneously came up with that question for me, which is not the case for the questions that we have for you. Will the alphabetical, go ahead.
I was just gonna say you're welcome, but
yeah, I know, right? Improv. Will the alphabetical order keep changing too? So we're going to keep that the same. And if you come into a situation where you have like Sally and Sandra, then you just move to the next letter, just so to make it easy for, so you don't have to spend, there's like this precious 8-minute period that you have, and rather than spending that time negotiating who is the first person to go, we just thought we would use this simple heuristic of whoever's name comes first in the alphabet. So just stick with that each round, just to keep it simple. Yeah, I don't see any more questions coming up. And obviously, if the first round you find some hitches, then you can bring up those questions when we come back to the main room, and we'll work through everything. And yeah, any feedback or any clarification is super helpful for us, because we're exploring, providing this kind of structure as well. So yeah, let's get started. So the first question for this round, and I'm going to bring it into the chat, is, what are the signs that someone really understands you? What are the signs that someone really understands you? And we're going to give everyone a second to just sit with that question. Think of something, shuffle through some stories, think about some friends. What are the signs that someone really understands you?